Hi and welcome to the Homeopathy Health Show. I'm Atik Ahmedbati, a fourth generation homeopath with over 25 years of professional experience and practice in this field of healing. The Homeopathy Health Show is the online voice of homeopathy around the world, promoting and raising awareness of this truly unique system of healing, which is suitable for all ages, young and old. Every week I invite guests from the world of homeopathy to come and share their experiences, their work, offer insights, and essentially talk all things homeopathy. Why not visit www.liketreatslike.co.uk and click on the radio and podcast button to listen to the latest episodes. So let's begin today's show here on UK Health Radio, the world's #1 talk health radio. Hi, welcome to another episode of the Homeopathy Health Show here on the UK Health Radio Network with me, Atik Ahmedbati, and Naila Chima. Hey Naila, welcome back.
Hey, hi everyone. Welcome to our beautiful, wonderful, exciting show.
Woohoo! The world's #1 radio show on homeopathy. And now that in itself is just something to be so happy about, is it not? And thank you to all the thousands, tens of thousands of listeners. So appreciative. Thank you so very much. And hey, do remember to, I was going to say don't remember, which obviously wouldn't, wrong way to say it, right? Do remember to send through your comments and your feedback, any questions, and also who would you like to see on the show? It's all about conversation, right? Conversation within the world of homeopathy and all the different modalities that so beautifully accompany it and support it. Now, we're so happy, Naila and I, to welcome back Peter Terminello. And you'll remember that he's been on for parts 1 and 2 of the Homeopathy Health Show, where we were talking really about his devotion for gems. He's a gemmologist, he's a homeopath, he's an author, he's absolutely incredible. And in the last few episodes that we were talking with Peter, we spoke in parts 1 and 2 specifically, I must say, we spoke about, or should I say I relayed my sentiments on behalf of everybody listening, actually, on what it means, for that work that Peter does. And I have to say it's such an honor because he is a living legend. And there's so many reasons for that. I don't want to embarrass him, but somebody who can spend hours and hours and days and weeks trying to source crystals and then to go on to that natural state of proving and that natural state of what is this going to help somebody with? I mean, come on, that's a special type of person, okay? And greatest respect to him, and may God bless him with a very long, healthy, prosperous life full of great success. So without further ado, we welcome you, Peter, our returning guest to the Homeopathy Health Show.
Thank you, Atik, for that amazing introduction. And it's so strange for me to hear all those things. Here we are in Australia, and homeopathy is we've taken a few hits here. And to hear your lovely, expansive view and giving credit to the sorts of things I've done, which are just natural for me, are strange and lovely at the same time. Anyway, it's great to be here with you, Atik, and you too, Naila, for the first time. Lovely to meet you again after seeing you in the UK last year.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Peter, I must say, for those listening, Naila was at the School of Homeopathy when Peter came last year for something called May Weekend. And he spoke about Psyche and Structure and gemstones. And I also had the privilege and honor to meet him for a few moments. I know it was a very busy day. But look where we are, 3 episodes later. And it's just phenomenal. But I would say, Peter, that you really inspire people, and I know that it's difficult sometimes to understand that because we're in different parts of the world, and we find perhaps that we're shut off. But I tell you what, your work really makes a difference, and it really changes lives. So, thank you.
Thank you for receiving it so graciously.
I would also like to pay my gratitude to you because last year I started another love story with gems, with colors
Mm,
that you introduced. And
mm,
I must say, I did see a few cases where I might have not helped them with any other remedy apart from the gemstones. They are wonderful, wonderful remedies. If they are indicated and you give them, you see the transformation because they themselves are so transformative. How are they made? Such a
mm,
fascinating world, the structure, what is the psyche behind them? How,
mm,
like, yeah, we see stones everywhere. Why then,
mm,
at some places, we find gemstones? We
mm,
find them in various different situations, like in various places. Why? And why is the color of some red, of some
mm,
turquoise, and they look so
mm,
beautiful? I know there is a world out there who love gemstones. Then they put them in
mm,
their water, and they put them in the
mm,
rings. They wear them. The
mm.
love is mutual. And thank you, Peter, for bringing them to homeopathy and for your extensive research and whatever you have done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Naila.
I have to say something. A few weeks ago, we had Rita Pojonen on, and she was from the Helsinki School of Homeopathy. And there was this amazing energy. And I tell you what happened just a few weeks back. I was actually at the School of Homeopathy, funnily enough, for Nyla's graduation, believe it or not. And a lady came up to me and she said, "Oh, I've just heard your episode with Rita." And she said, "I've never cried in my life. And because of that episode, because of the energy that the three of us shared, myself, Nyla, and Rita," she said, "I cried for the first time. And it was such a release." But I tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, which is very interesting, and I don't get this often. That energy that I can feel from Peter at this moment, it doesn't matter if it's digital. I mean, just it's got nothing to do with it, actually. Energy is energy, okay? There's a connection. But it is actually very, very powerful at this moment in time because I can feel that energy coming off Peter. I don't know how you feel, Nyla.
I'm very receptive to energies and I change, my body language change, and I do feel I don't think Zoom matters. Energies can be transferred everywhere, and I just echo you what you have said.
Yeah. It just goes back to Nikola Tesla and, this whole thing about if you want to understand everything, it's frequency, vibration, and resonance, isn't it? So, but anyway, we have totally digressed. Peter, I do apologize. But hey, this is the Homeopathy Health Show, and we just wanted to make sure that we honor you in the best way. But moving forward now, the exciting part.
And we are recording at
Yeah.
quarter past 10 in UK. And what time is it, Peter, in Australia?
It is 7:15 a.m. in Australia.
Thank you so much for actually
Thank
being
you.
up at this time. Um, Peter, you've written a homeopathic bestseller, a best-selling book, Psyche and Structure, which is
Yeah.
on crystals. And within the crystal system, the self you've spoken about a cubic system, a hexagonal, trigonal, etc., and how those structures link to different themes, emotional, mental themes, and how those mental and emotional themes then also resonate with the certain remedies like arsenicum or carcinosin or natramura and so forth. So really, not a question, but how did that come about, that process? That that cubic structure equals this plus, or a cubic plus such and such equals this, and this is the affinity for the remedies and so forth. It'd be fascinating for the listeners if you could sort of really touch upon
Yeah,
it.
I'm very happy to talk about that. So uh, I finished writing 12 Jewels in 2005, and and it was quite a high for me because we'd spent 10 years preparing it. And so I was sort of riding on cloud nine because we'd gone through so much. Myself, when I say we, I say myself and a group around me, and uh, and I could feel the energy of it holding me and carrying me.
Hmm.
I thought, what now? Anyway, in 2007, hey, it's 18 years ago now. 2007, I decided to go to Europe, and Oh, I think I had some seminars to do. That's right. Yes, I had some seminars to do. And going to Europe and the UK and doing some seminars, um, I thought, oh, I'll tie in meeting some people.
Hmm.
And so I went around and I met various homeopaths, not directly to do with the seminars at all, people that I was interested in having a rap with and with learning more and understanding more. And I also wanted to meet some crystal healers.
Hmm.
So I knew there was a lot I didn't know. So I ended up meeting one person in particular, and it was a guy named Michael Ginga. And he was sort of like the king of crystals. And he had this air about him that was quite kingly. He was the main person in Germany at the
Hmm.
time for crystals, and he was the first one to introduce. He was the science of crystals along with their healing attributes.
Right.
So he was trained as a mineralogist, and so he really had the science down. And he also had a beautiful, deep sense of healing and an ability to heal. So he brought these two things together. And when I read his book, he wrote about the crystal structures and that he found that one of his friends only wanted to collect one sort of crystal, which was a fluorite.
Right.
And he collected every size and shape of fluorite and every color of fluorite. And fluorite belongs to the cubic structure. It must, by its very essence, belong to the cubic structure. That's the way it's formed. And he thought, wow, the cubic structure is just like a box. It's sort of rigid and one-dimensional. Whatever way you look at it, it has the same dimension. And this friend of mine is exactly like that in his character. So he put two and two together and thought, wow, maybe there's something in this that people with that character are attracted to that structure. So he went from there and he wrote a short story on it in his book. And it wasn't just about his friend, it was about other people that he knew and some experiences he had. And he developed that into a little picture of a psyche. He called it a lifestyle.
Hmm.
Anyway, I read it and I read it on the plane going over to Europe, actually. And I thought, being up in the clouds, I really love air travel.
Good place to be.
Hey, and being up in the clouds, it does something else to you. You're a little closer to the stars or something.
Yeah.
And I thought, the sort of light started to go on for me. I thought, this is an angle for homeopathy because it includes everything in the mineral world or in the gem world at that time I was considering. So I went and I met him and I spent a couple of days with him and had a fabulous, fabulous time. And he had seen my book and we exchanged the talk about what we'd done. Now, I'd written one book and it took me 10 years to write. He'd written something like 16 books and all starting with a book which I can recommend, called Crystal Power, Crystal Healing.
Hmm.
And that tells his angle on structures and it gives information about 100 gemstones. Yeah. It's
Right.
really, really grounded and solid information. So that's the thing that sparked me to go further. I was back in Europe a couple of years later thinking I might write a book about this. And I was talking to a colleague about it. It's for an eminent colleague, and that colleague said, "You must do this." And I was surprised that he was so excited about it. He said, "Well, all of the minerals crystallize. So if you have a system that's true blue and takes in not only gemstones, it'll take in all of the minerals that we use. That's 40% of homeopathy."
Wow.
And when he said that, I sort of felt these sparks, and I felt like I just pulled the jackpot, on a
Yeah.
poker machine.
Yeah.
And all the coins were coming out. And I also felt that a great weight that, oh my God, I'm going to have to integrate it with the whole of the minerals kingdom in homeopathy. Anyway, being the sort of person I am, I love a mission.
Mission
And
impossible, right?
exactly, it seemed like at the time. I
Yeah.
thought I'm going to take this on. So that's the time when I went and did the gemology course, and which took me 2 years. I did that in 2009, 2010.
Mm.
And so that I could get something of what my friend Michael had in terms of the scientific understanding of structure, yeah,
Mm.
and meld it with homeopathic, our homeopathic knowledge into a system.
Wow.
So that's the beginning of it. And
Interesting, isn't it? It's interesting how, I always find this very fascinating with what you've just said and how you can be inspired sometimes just by others, but that inspiration doesn't mean you add to it, but it means sometimes you can create something totally different. It's just like different flowers bloom, don't they? And seedlings may drop, right? And then as they drop and then the rain comes down and you bloom in your own way, right? It's amazing. I love it.
And then doing a German
exactly.
course to get it all right, like just going to the source and
Mm.
understanding it from the very beginning. Tell me who you are so I can see, is there your sibling out there?
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, very, very nice. Yeah, yeah, that's right. I
Mm.
needed to go to the source of people who did crystal healing. And I mean, that man was steeped in crystals, and he's passed now. But, he lived them like I have. So, yeah, I felt like I'd met a brother when I met Michael Ginger. And
Mm.
actually, I wept coming home in the plane
Oh,
thinking about it, because
You
it was
know,
like someone understands.
yeah. Oh my God, that's so true, isn't it? That's so, you know what, you've just said something very, very deep actually, because someone that understands, as homeopaths, right? We get lost in translation, right? When we're talking to family and friends. Seriously, if they're not into homeopathy, it's like they know the remedies or they'll know what to do, what to take. But to have a conversation in depth about something that one is passionate about, homeopathy, gemology, whatever it is, right? Crystal structures, right? What we're talking about now. It takes somebody of that nature, right, to resonate. And as soon as you resonate, the smiles take place and the ideas start coming and the zeal comes to life, isn't it? It's a phenomena in itself, is it not?
It is a phenomenon in itself, and I must say it is something special. And I'm going to share something that's quite personal, but was quite amazing because in the 2 days that I was with Michael in 2007, I met him about 5 or 6 times before he passed,
Hmm.
and we spent days together each time. Sometimes we'd sit out at the back of a crystal shop and just talk structure. Now, I was there with him with another really great crystal healer, um, and a man named Walter von Holst.
Hmm.
And we would sit in the back of a crystal shop for days and talk crystal structure, and they would look at me, and they said to me, "We thought we were the only two people in the world that were really interested in crystal structure."
wow.
You
I
know,
knew immediately, I knew immediately it was there was great value in it.
I got
And
goosebumps there.
Yeah. Uh-oh, that's a special moment then. If you've got that, that's a special moment.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I was able to give back to them just because of my experience with homeopathy. You know, I'd seen at that stage, I'd seen about 5 emerald cases.
Hmm.
And I knew stuff about emerald they had no idea of. I knew dimensions about emerald, and hence I had dimensions of the hexagonal structure that they didn't know or understand, even though they'd been working on it for 10 years.
Wow.
mm.
So it was a fabulous, fabulous meeting. And right through till 2014 was the last time I met him. I have met Walter a few times since. So that's the beginning of it all.
What a fascinating journey, hey, Nyla?
It was magic. I had a magical tour. 3 years in a row I came to Europe and the UK, and the whole thing was magic.
You know, it reminds me of quote. It reminds me of something from Star Wars. You know, when there's a phrase that's used which has very deep meaning. Where I think it was Anakin Skywalker says, "Now, once I was the student, and now I'm the master." You know, and I'm the teacher, and it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's very deep. It's very deep as well. Anyway, I digress. Nyla, over to you.
That's so fascinating. Just imagining the crystals to be communicative. Like, I think everyone in this universe can talk to you only if you have the ears to listen to, or if you can understand their language. And just thinking about you were the only two people actually understanding the language of the crystals, basically, how they present themselves. That is so truly fascinating. And I just can't get the goosebumps away. The story is so fascinating. Before we started, I actually wished for maybe a magical moment happens during this conversation. And I think that is the moment when you went to where this all started, because now there is a repertory out there. You can see crystal structures of various remedies. We can use it. I know Luke Norland. He is working on his new project where he's incorporating the crystal structures with the remedies and with his HD homeopathy, he calls it. And I truly think that it is really fascinating, and just understanding just how you explain the cubic structure. Would like to know more about a little bit about emerald, because that is one of Atik's favorite remedy as well.
I love it. I love emerald. I absolutely do. It comes in so handy. But hey, uh, using that quote, I'm just a student, you are the master, so you go ahead.
So it is a particularly relevant place to begin with crystals.
Hmm.
And I use the emerald often in promotions around what I do with crystals. And it seems to be iconic. A lot of people love it. And, I knew it was a great remedy. I've always loved emeralds. Emerald gave me one of my first experiences with crystals in terms of having an effect. Actually, I wore an emerald ring once, and hey, I got I got really angry.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I got really, really angry, and I didn't pick up it was the emerald at the time, but I realised now, and I realised not long after that it was the emerald. Anyway,
Is that why the Hulk is green? Eh?
exactly. The
Yeah.
Hulk is the story of the emerald. Yeah, yeah.
Great, brilliant. I
Yeah,
love the match.
it is. You know the story of the Hulk. It's this sort
Yeah,
of hyper masculine guy,
yeah,
um, and the only thing that calms him down is the ultra feminine woman.
yeah.
Yeah. he's totally in love with her,
Yeah.
like because it's the polarity, it's the thing that he has nothing of.
Yeah. Brilliant. I love that. I love how you've done that. Yeah. That's one we'll never
And
forget now. Just
so,
like Wolverine to Nux Vomica, right? Chip on your
yeah,
shoulder.
it's quite amazing how it developed. And I should say again in 12 Jewels, it was the only remedy that I insisted that the artist paint 3 pictures for because it was so powerful. The masculine feminine
Hmm.
polarity in emerald is so powerful and so telling
Hmm.
that it begged me to have this extra picture done about the interaction of masculine and feminine, and that's the really healthy, full, developed interaction of masculine and feminine. So the interesting thing is that that is hexagonal, and you all know about a hexagon. So it's a six-pointed star, and it's composed of 2 triangles, one pointing up and one pointing down.
Hmm.
And those 2 triangles are interlocked. So the pointing up is the masculine energy, pointing skyward.
Hmm.
And the pointing down is the feminine energy pointing earthward. And we are spirits in the material world. Yeah.
Hmm.
So this is a unique and fixed and elemental expression through gems of being a spirit in the material world. It's about the work that we have to take on here. And emerald is the iconic gemstone for this. So there are many themes in hexagonal. One of the great themes is the polarity of masculine and feminine. And the other great theme is undertaking a great work, yeah, a
Hmm.
big job, yeah.
Yeah.
And so the integration of masculine and feminine, and that's not only the integration of masculine and feminine externally in having a healthy, successful love relationship, yeah,
Hmm.
but also in what we do in the world, because often we find the masculine and feminine forces working operating in our work or between individuals.
Hmm.
Yes, one takes uh, um, a yang role. We talk about yin and yang, yin being feminine and yang being masculine. One takes a yang role, which is an activated role, and the other takes a yin role, which is like a supportive holding role. And they're both absolutely necessary. And unless they actually integrate properly, the work isn't going to happen.
Hmm. Interesting.
Kind of
Very
fall over.
interesting. Yeah.
Very, very powerful thing. So the other thing is once you start to get them together, is the actual work that can be done when they're integrated. Yeah.
Hmm.
And so the two great themes of Emerald is one is I've got a task to do, can I do it? And
Hmm.
the other is that can I integrate the masculine and the feminine? Yeah. The yin and
I
the
love
yang.
this remedy.
Yeah.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Fabulous, fabulous remedy. Do you want to share an experience?
No, I actually have a question for you. Kind of question, okay? Because of the second triangle, which is the feminine side, which points downwards,
Hmm.
does that mean that emerald can be considered a remedy to ground both male and female if they are connected?
Yes. People don't ask me anymore, but people used to ask me because I'm into gems. And when I was doing 12 jewels, they said, "Oh, we're getting an engagement ring. What do you think we should do?"
Okay, strange question,
Uh,
but go on.
there are all these beautiful gemstones out there,
Yeah.
blues and greens and reds. And I said, get the emerald. Yeah. It's really integrative in relationships. Yeah.
Interesting.
Amazing.
it does have a wonderful, wonderful history, both spiritually, because it's all in all the sacred books, that talk about gems here or there. Yeah. Sometimes very potently. And, in the Bible, it's very, very strong
Yeah.
in the Old Testament and the New Testament, actually, Revelations and Genesis and all that. And emeralds are always there. It's iconic. It's been iconic forever. Yeah. At least in the Western civilization. Yeah. And in the Indian civilization, it's been iconic
Yeah,
forever.
absolutely. It's quite. I know Nyla's got wants to chip in here, but um, it's interesting, isn't it? Because green. They're going off slightly on off tangent here, but I think we were having this conversation some weeks ago, myself and Nyla, and I said to her, "I've never met. There may be few, of course, but I've never met anybody who says, 'Oh my God, the birds are singing in the morning. I hate it.'" And I've never met anyone who says, "Why are the trees green? I just can't stand greenery," right? Emerald, right? It's interesting, isn't it? It's got that purity to it, hasn't it? That lusciousness, right? That sort of attraction to it, right? And it's so nice to look at it on the eyes, right? Visually, it's that representation is so soothing, right?
Oh, that green is really, really something. And it's really brought home by the writings of Hildegard of Bingen,
Hmm.
the was she 10th century or 11th century um, Catholic saint from Germany who wrote a Materia Medica. And I think the first Materia Medica that was ever written on gems. And in it, she said, emerald has viriditas. And viriditas is the green essence of the life force. Yeah. And she talks about it, the green essence of the life force that comes from nature.
Yeah,
Yes. And that we all need to live. It's
absolutely.
it's quite an amazing, it is an extraordinary gemstone. Yeah. And talking about it now and thinking about the history and thinking about the cases, I guess, if there's one stone that I'd want, if I had to just choose one to have around me, I think it's probably one of the original ones that I really loved. Maybe it would be an emerald. Yeah. I'm
It's
talking
beautiful.
from my human heart. Yeah, that's where I would as
That's
well.
amazing. Brilliant, brilliant. Because my daughter, she wanted to have an emerald ring, and we went out and we kept on, and they make these lab made emeralds as
Yes,
well.
yes.
Yeah, there were a lot like that, but because I attended your seminar,
Mhm,
I said, no,
mhm.
this is lab made. We're not getting this. If we're getting something, we're getting the original one.
Good
And
on you. Isn't that good, Peter? You see?
I'm so pleased.
yeah, we did go
I'm
for
so
the
pleased.
original one.
This is a movement for Mother Earth for me now.
Yeah, because yeah,
So important.
thing was I didn't. You feel the pull as homeopaths. We develop this sensitivity towards nature, towards all the uh, everything what is around us. That's why we develop this sensitivity of the energy fields that our patient is bringing with them, so that we can be receptive and then help them with what they need. And I just didn't feel the pull to the lab made ones. It was just like bland, something just there, manufactured. Just like if you go out and go, if you see those plastic wraps, etc. Just nothing there, no life there. I have a question. I have a
Yeah.
question for you.
Hey, woohoo!
You
It's a
talked
running
about
joke, Peter. It's a running joke. When
So,
in every show, in every episode, I always come up with it's almost like a catchphrase for me. I have a question for you.
question for
So yeah.
you. You talked about hexagonal structure. So you also mentioned that you see those structures in humans. How would, if you could say a little bit more about how would a hexagonal patient or a human being around us would look like?
uh, you're not talking visually.
No, no, not visually. If we have some adjectives, to describe. hexagonal structure.
You know, the whole thing about crystal structure is it's the structure of the psyche. Yeah. So it's the way that we all receive ideas. We receive ideas and impressions from the senses in our life. And as you are aware, we all process them differently. And we're often surprised when we hear another person take on a particular situation. And you think, well, that's not the way I saw it at all. It's not the way I felt it. Yeah. So if you're a hexagonal person, you're going to be goal or project oriented. Yeah. Likely, if you're really strong hexagonal. Yeah. And I had one very hexagonal lady who did brilliantly on aquamarine, which is the light blue coloured emerald, really. So it's exactly the same chemical. It's exactly the same mineral as emerald, but it's a different colour. Okay. So she was deeply aquamarine. And we talked about her life. And she'd done certain things. She'd done work in a certain way. She'd had a certain relationship. Then she went to an ashram, and she was working there for 7 years. And then she looked after her parents before they passed away. Anyway, as she reflected on it, and I reflected on it and held the space, she said, my life is a series of projects. That's the way I live. And you could, she had spelled it out perfectly. And I knew she was hexagonal. Yeah. And then I needed was the colour, which was easy. She chose it. And the remedy was just fabulous for her. Yeah. So it was getting the sketch of the life, knowing that one of the themes of hexagonal was a person who takes on a project that they must complete. They're a goal-oriented person. Yeah. And it's the goal and it's the integrity of the goal. I mean, it's not so often that the goal is something just material. That would be pretty rare. Usually there's some deeper, if it's a crystal remedy, and I mean a precious crystal remedy, there's something deeper, something that's meaningful for the family or a larger group or for humanity or for community, something like this. Yeah. Or something that's going to add to the knowledge or well-being of a group, be it homeopaths or a nation or a village. Yeah. So they have some ideal that goes along with the achievement. And actually, once they've achieved it, they don't like to sit on their laurels. They like to find something else. Whatever.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. I received an email today from Luke. We work closely together with Radar Opus, and he's working with his system with birth chart and HD homeopathy. And he said, according to his calculations, I am a hexagonal character. So you talking about hexagonal, this sends me into some more research, I think.
Yeah, I hear that some people are using astrology to work out structures.
Yes, and goal orientation is there, and the goal is very much similar to what Atik's goal is, and hopefully not only homeopathy, we want to do something for the universe, for the planet, for the humanity. Hopefully we'll get there.
We will.
Okay.
We must.
We will. We will. Stronger together always,
Yeah, always.
So just talking about the hexagonal structure, are there shimmers of Nux vomica in there?
Yes.
Okay.
It was a good question because what happened with the structures is on the way going through and from a pretty early stage, actually, I realized that the structures reach outside of the the gemstones. They reach into the mineral kingdom. And then I realized that they reached into the plant kingdom too.
Right.
And you might have had the experience where you read a case of a remedy and the person chooses a good remedy for the case and they choose it on certain symptoms and or a certain perception of the case, and they get a good result. And then you might read another case of the same remedy that where the person has seen something completely different, and you look at the two lots of case notes, and you find that they're really different perspectives about nux vomica, or about the remedy in question. And you think, wow, that's another dimension that I didn't know. Probably one of those dimensions you associate with your already ingested knowledge. And the other is sort of something, really, did that work out to be that remedy, that plant remedy? So I realized early on that I started to see structures that I'd become very familiar with in the plant, when I needed the plant remedy. And nux vomica was one of the first ones that I realized that all cases when a person needs nux vomica, they're in hexagonal.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's like a miasm. It's the hexagonal energy is there. Yeah, without a doubt. And every nux vomica is in hexagonal.
So strychnine's in there, of course, and nux itself. And
sorry, what was the other thing?
Strychnine.
Oh, strychnine.
Yeah, it's my way of saying it.
Speaking a different language than I am, right?
I know.
Yeah, strychnine.
Yeah, a remedy that you don't know of.
Tomato.
If you speak differently, you can. It's just like
But
alien
it's that
language.
one. We got it.
We got it. And yes, I know that nux is very hexagonal. I'm looking for hexagonal traits when I'm thinking of nux. Yes. And so I do that with many plants now, and I have classified many plants into structures.
I'm just looking at your crystal structures in Radar Opus, and I can see it is very meticulously made. Can see even the periods under the structures, can see which gemstones are there, organic compounds, plants, animals. No, that's really, really extensive work that you've done there. And yeah, everyone who doesn't have it, they need to get it. If they have Radar Opus, you can get it.
You can, yes.
Yeah. And then there is your another repertory of yours as well, indexed to the crystals, and I use it with my patients. If I see mineral remedies and some of the crystal themes, I usually go to there, and we can find a really good matching crystal for them.
Oh, nice. Yes. Radar Opus has it at the moment with this, and it has the crystal structures and the crystal remedies in there as a separate, as part of the platform. Yeah. So yes, over 1,000 remedies, including all of the sort of common traditional remedies, have been classified into structure now. Yeah.
Brilliant, amazing work. Like just thinking about how you managed to do that. It's like embodying the remedy, going in there, I'm going to find your structure. Just how you explained nux vomica. No one is going to forget. If there is a hexagonal remedy, nux vomica is your point of reference. Look at nux vomica, and you'll know what hexagonal structure means.
So what I did to put the plants in is that into structure is that I tried to find the best cases. I found the structure came through in cases where someone had taken a beautiful, complete case. And if I could get 3 cases, I was really, really sure about the structure.
Hmm.
And I found this time and time and time again that I could read three disparate cases, three coming from different authors, and I could see the structure in each of them if they'd taken a complete case.
Hmm.
And it was quite amazing. So you can imagine I read lots and lots and lots of cases,
Yeah.
and spent many hours and stayed up till very late at night putting it all together.
I can imagine that's no easy feat. But that is why
No,
you are
actually,
Peter Terminello, remember? So
hey, I really love homeopathy, right?
yeah, absolutely.
We feel that.
So
We're
it's
feeling
been a
that.
great driver for me, as we all do.
Hmm.
And so, yes, it was very interesting doing the plants, and I continue to do them as they crop up. Yeah, I have just recently finished doing the bark flowers
Oh,
Oh, okay.
and
Same time. That was
working,
fascinating.
working out the structures for them. Yeah.
Really? Oh,
uh,
do share, please. This is exciting.
Yeah, and I must say it's not complete because we don't have really good cases of some
Hmm.
of them because they just get mixed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a mishmash, so you can't work out the structure. But I've got an idea with I have I'm certain about probably 60% of them,
mm,
and I am fairly sure about 20%, and I'm unsure about another 20%. Yeah.
mm.
The 60% you're sure of. Can you give us a few examples?
Oh
Perhaps.
man.
Not putting you on the spot, even just one. Let's just say one.
Yeah. Um, yeah.
The one that really sort of caught your attention, let's say, if there was one.
Yes. Okay. I know because I've had a case of it. And so there's a remedy called a juglans, in homeopathy.
Regia.
It's the walnut.
Yeah.
And
I have to stop you. I'm so sorry. Before Atik spoke, I was about to ask, let's talk about walnut as a buff flower remedy and how you actually chose the
Amazing.
remedy. Something is happening here in
It's
this.
one of my favorite remedies, by the way, as well. I love it.
yeah.
Out of the batch remedies. Ask Nyla. Seriously, I always
Oh,
talk to her
really?
about batch flower. I always say, they need walnut. They need walnut. They need walnut. She's saying, well, hang on a minute.
Here we
Please.
are, we're the walnut meeting crew, like people meet once a month when they have a special interest.
Hey, there's a
And
hexagonal triangle here. You know that.
Let's hail to the walnut, please.
so walnut is really interesting. And you know how they have to close themselves off. And close themselves down to be safe. This is a great theme of orthorhombic. Yeah. And when I went through all the walnut cases, and I had a really good juglans case. Actually, what I'd done is I'd given a walnut in potency to one of my clients.
I do hope you've enjoyed this week's episode of the Homeopathy Health Show. Please do support the show by clicking follow on my socials. Remember, the more exposure the podcast receives, the better for homeopathy around the world. You can find me on Instagram by searching for @like_treatslike, and on both Facebook and TikTok by searching for @like_treatslike. So let's promote the voice of homeopathy on radio and podcast around the world together. Don't forget to visit me online at www.liketreatslike.co.uk and click on the radio and podcast tab. Here you'll be able to see all the guests that have joined me on the show so far, and of course you can stream on demand the latest episode to your mobile, tablet or PC. Until next time, stay safe and take care.